If you're catching this broadcast, good morning. It's Walter Parks from St. Louis. That was Lo How a Rose Air Blooming. A wonderful Christian hymn, Christmas hymn, actually, from, it was a hit in 1582. And I love playing the old songs on guitar. Here's one that I feel like is a hymn. It's a Robin Trower song from the 70s. It's one of the reasons why I even wanted to play electric guitar at all. In this place filled with empty space, your love holds the key. Sympathize with me, I need you. Before I lost touch of life and grace, I knew that your sweet face could always comfort me. I love you. you. Oh, now I know what it means to have you gone. I'm down on my knees, darling, see by me. I love you. In this place filled with empty space, your love holds the key. Sympathize with me. I need you. In this place, that was originally done by Robin Trower in the 70s. I need to check in with my technical person, my dear wife, and see if we're broadcasting. We're good? Okay. I'm just getting a flashing screen that's kind of makes me wonder if we're connecting, but I got a thumbs up, so I have to work here on faith, and that's really why I played that song. I think Christmas time is a time of faith, and here's what I mean. I don't preach and come to you every Sunday morning with the intent of swaying anybody to Christianity or against Christianity or towards any particular dogma, but what I would, in my best hopes, have is that you believe in yourself. And here's what I mean by the faith and the Christmas story. I mean, even if you don't buy the whole thing, the nativity thing and the virginity thing, it's the story has a good outcome. There was a birth of a man that came from very unscientific beginnings, if you will. This wasn't supposed to happen. A virgin birth, and yet all this good came from it. And some would say, well, so much bad came from Christianity. Look at all the wars that have been fought. But just for a moment, just work with me on this. It's the concept, at the very least, try to buy that something can come from nothing, so to speak. And how many times in our lives do we realize that what we thought would be an impossible outcome can happen to us? Again, not trying to sway you to any one particular belief or whatever. So what I take from so many of these Christian stories is that they're stories of possibility. A lady once had me walk a labyrinth in her backyard in Covington, Georgia, and there were stones all over the labyrinth, and it's a maze, essentially, for humans. And she said this was a religious experience, and I said, well, I walked it and solved the labyrinth in not much time. What's the big deal? It's like going to Six Flags over Georgia. It wasn't really that religious or spiritual. And I said, how about this? Let me have a couple of glasses of wine, and I'm going to take off my shoes and walk this labyrinth on these stones barefooted. And let me see if any spirituality comes to me at that point. And lo and behold, it did. I realized that The first thing I thought of when I finally, after 30 minutes or so, torturous minutes, I realized that's what the story of Jesus is about. I mean, even if it's just a story, it's this concept that you can get through what this man got through. Imagine having to carry your own cross, knowing full well that within a couple of hours you were going to be nailed to it. It's just the ultimate humiliation. And but if we can buy that just for a moment that actually happened, if that guy got through all of that, we should be able to get through what we get through. So the reason I played In This Place, and the reason I feel like that's a hymn, the reason I feel like it really serves as a hymn is that we're in this place filled with empty space. There's an emptiness in this guy's life at that point. And I feel that emptiness when I go into a cathedral in France or Germany or somewhere. I feel like this is not comforting to me at all. This is ominous, threatening, foreboding, and this feels like the worst case scenario. It's the way it feels. It's beautiful and all that. And then I'm reminded that there is a good perspective and there is a comfort to be found in all situations, even when everything's turned into merde, as they say in France, or Scheiße, as they say in Germany. The hardest part is having that faith that you can round this corner. The hardest part is to have a smile on your face when things are going to merde or Scheiße. And some would say, I have friends that would say, why do you need to keep a smile on your face? Isn't that fake? And I would say, the intent is not to disguise or to manipulate or to be a fraud. The intent is to still give a peaceful vibe and to encourage everybody else to do their best work and to be their best selves in that moment. The intent is to try to lift yourself up and to operate on the faith that what is meant to be. And anyway, let me play some music. I'm so glad that we're getting close to Christmas time. Well, this is Christmas time. I'm so glad that we're getting close to Christmas, and I'll talk about that in a bit. I feel like kind of picking the pace up. This is a show. My name is Walter Parks, for those of you who are new to my show, and a lot of people are today. It's called Hymns and Hollers, and I grew up in the southern part of the United States, and boy, there was just gospel and spirituals just floating through the air on Sunday mornings, be it from a storefront church or driving past an old Methodist church with open windows or that kind of thing. Just great music everywhere. And this is one that I recently recorded with my good buddy Stephen Williams in our new group called the Unlawful Assembly. I've taken a bunch of spirituals with Stephen and kind of redone them. And this is a fun one. It's called Steal Away.
Ain't got long to stay.
I love playing that song. Um, Here's another one that's as gospel as it gets. Nice 1970s song. This is one of the songs that I heard on the radio, and I thought, I want to be a part of that. And, everybody, so many people, so many musicians were pulled in by bands like Cream and a lot of the groups from the 60s and so on. But this 70s soul music did it for me. By the way, grab a cup of coffee. Welcome. This is Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. I'm drinking from a ceramic cup made in France, and I bought this in Savannah, Georgia at a French store on Broughton Avenue, and I've managed to break almost every one of them except for this one. So lift a glass there. Nothing better than a good coffee. Here we go. Al Green kind of got tired of the music business, and he was big in the 70s. Had album covers with his shirt off and just his bling around his neck. And he got tired of all that and went back to Memphis. Maybe that's his home. And he started a church and was just preaching in that church. And he did that for years. And now he goes out and plays every now and then. And I saw him live, but not in the day. And Al Green, what I liked most about his sound in the early 70s is that he had this whole band sound. I mean, the drummer in Al Green's band sounded like Al Green's sound. I mean, they worked on the sound of that band to the point that Al Green notwithstanding, I mean, he didn't even have to sing, and the guys could play. If they just played that, you know, they could just play a little bit of that, and you just knew it was Al Green just by the sound of the band. And that's one of the things that magnetized me about music is identity and style. And I started to see that that's really what it's all about as far as being an artist is you got to tell yourself, I want to be me and put myself out to the world. Now, I've said this before, and I really believe it, that there's a vivid imagination is a necessary prerequisite to be an artist, but it also can be our greatest foe in a certain sense. We have to be careful about a vivid imagination because there's a thin line between believing in yourself and having delusions of grandeur. I mean, I can imagine myself playing at, Madison Square Garden as a headliner. And then, I mean, that's all well and good. But I think along with that, especially if you do it early enough in your career, you have to say, well, okay, it's not going to happen just because I imagine it. What's my game plan? How am I going to get there? And so, but that's hunting. That's basic stuff. That's primitive stuff. That's Neanderthal stuff. How are you going to get from this stool to Madison Square Garden? I'm just using this as metaphor. How is the caveman going to kill the mastodon and provide for his family? He has to hunt. He has to strategize. This isn't going to be easy. And when he finally kills the mastodon, he's got to figure a way to take all that bounty back to and save it and make that kill worth it, and so on. So this all involves strategy, and if you're not willing to strategize to manifest your what your imagination is providing for you, if you're not willing to strategize, then it's like just imagining a Whopper at Burger King or something. Well, I'm hungry, so I'm going to imagine myself eating. No creature does that. A creature goes out and figures a way to eat. And so the strategy is part and parcel with the imagination. But I'm excited we're together. This show is called Hymns and Hollers. It's Walter Parks. I generally broadcast from my home in St. Louis, Missouri, but sometimes I'm on the road and I try to do a broadcast. But we don't do it religiously every Sunday, but we do it when I feel like I'm ready. And when I feel like I have something to say, I'll reach out and say, hey, we're going to do some shows and let's get together. I think up to this point, I've just played other people's music. And we played Robin Trower's In This Place. I played Lo, How a Rose Ere Blooming from 1582. And it was adopted by Brahms into one of his pieces, 1896. So for 300 years, it really wasn't that widely known to the world. Um, at first, the Lo How Rose Air Blooming uh, was singing the praises essentially of Mary and the virgin birth. And then the Protestants got a hold of it and started making it about Jesus and so on. I mean, about Jesus instead of about Mary. So that's what can happen over the course of years, and then you come to accept it as this one particular thing. Um, I tell you, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and used to see this man, an old black man, playing a Sears silver tone guitar on his front porch, and it sounded so complete. And I always have this sort of sense of respect and envy for a musician who can sound complete as one. This guy sounded like a whole choir in one person. He sounded like the organ, the drums, and hell, he sounded like the congregation in one guy. And I got up the courage to ask him how he got that sound, and he answered me, "Well, young boy, you just gotta have the Jesus tone." Without Jesus tone, I don't even wanna bother strapping it on. Without the Jesus tone, I might as well stay home. Well, my preacher got a pulpit and a microphone. I can't play the guitar without Jesus tone. Jesus hand. I can't drive a nail, I can't drive a van without the Jesus hand. I ain't worth a damn. Oh, I'm gonna lose my occupation to a much better man. Got the Jesus hand. If you wanna play the guitar with the Jesus tone, plug into an amplifier the Savior condone. You'll get the Jesus tone with every amplifier you own. I say the hell with the devil and a black cat bone. I can't play the guitar without Jesus tone. You know I like my Jesus tone. You know I like my Jesus. You know I like my Jesus tone. Oh, you know I like my Jesus. You know I like my Jesus tone. That was a song that I do with my group Swamp Cabbage. Jesus tone. Song of mine called Wind Up Monkey that my colleague Jagoda kind of helped me manifest in one sense. I recorded that for my solo record, which is just called Walter Parks, and I do recommend that record. I'm so proud of what I did for that record, but I recorded it. It's not on that record. It wasn't ready, and when we put the tapes back on the machine in making Swamp Cabbage's latest record, Jive, I said, let's give this a try. Let's put some drums to it and so on. And Jagoda just flipped the beat. He did it intentionally. A lot of drummers flip the beat, thinking they're doing the right thing when they play with me. But he did it. And we just both, when he flipped the beat. So in other words, let's see if I can do this with the stomp. So, it's going to be hard to understand what I mean. So If you're normally hearing a beat in a rock and roll situation or R&B, it's like the kick is on 1 and 3 and the snare is on 2 and 4, right? So, do bat, do bat, 1, 2, do bat, do bat, do bat, do da da do da da do bat. But and we, you know, it was like boom, bam, catch, do bat, do bat. You know, and then we thought, well, that's what most people would do. So we turned it around and we went, bat, bat, bat. Y'all hear the difference? The high one hits first where the kick normally is. And it was so absurd and ridiculous. We just started laughing and we thought, that's our gauge right there. When Swamp Cabbage is laughing, we know we're in the right zone. And that's one of the great things about art. You know, you search for that place to where you're just having fun. If you're having fun and you're connecting with people, that's money in the bank, folks. That's money in the bank. And here's a song that I have been working on for 10 years. I was playing a corporate gig in Manhattan for about almost probably 15 years. And it was really the only corporate gig that I did, but it was a handful. And the first part of the gig I'd be playing in a lobby. It was right on Broadway. And a guy came up to me about 3 years in. He said, "Do you know U2's Beautiful Day?" And I was so frustrated at that point because I thought, this is a beautiful moment. The sun was coming in the lobby. And I love doing that. I love playing cover songs for people. And I thought, no, I don't know that song. And so the very next year I started working on it, and it is a bear. It's just, it's a very tricky arrangement, and it's not really well suited for guitar to play and try to manifest the whole song, the vocals, the drum beat, and it's a fun guitar part if you're just playing Edge's part. But anyway, so here's what I've got with it so far. Hold on a second. I hope y'all are enjoying the listen this morning. enjoyed playing that. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Ooh, I can't wait to play that with a drummer. That's going to be fun. But U2's Beautiful Day, again, I think it's a modern hymn, you know. And he talks about in the bridge, you know, the part where he goes, you see the tuna, schools of tuna caught in the nets and so on. He's saying, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff in the world, but it's still a beautiful day. And that's the hardest part when things aren't going right. To just say, you know, I'm glad I'm alive. And even when things are going to scheisse, and you see that guy on the side of the road with the sign that says, landlord, kick me out, whatever, need food for my dog, willing to work, can't find, you know, whatever. Just give him $5. I mean, it can't be that easy to stand out there. Some people just can't handle getting through life. I mean, I don't do it all the time. I'm in a hurry sometimes, so I want to be honest. I don't just go around peeling off the ones. But I think the key is doing what you can. If you can, you do, and that requires honesty, and it requires a willingness, and it requires a faith that this is an act of kindness that is worthwhile. What it doesn't require is judgment, and I'm a judgy person. I will admit, I grew up that way. I look at other people and I say, well, how did they get themselves in that predicament? But as it says in the Bible, and you guys I'm not a biblical scholar. Somebody please let me know if it's a parable or a psalm or whatever. It's like, judge not lest you be judged. I'm sure Christ said that. But I always remember that. Maybe Christ didn't say it. Maybe one of his disciples said it. Maybe that was the voice of God. I don't know. Somebody let me know. But I do remember that. It's like, okay, if I'm walking the perfectly straight line, then I'll go ahead and judge. But we are so inclined to think this day and age, how did these people who are in the national and international news, and these people who are saying they're having trouble, how did they get themselves and how do they keep themselves in that situation? And all I can say is that even though I'm a child of opportunity, so to speak, I've been in situations to where, you know, I've slept in my car. There have been times in my life, it hasn't been recently, but there have been times in my life when everything turned to scheisse. My first marriage was falling apart, and I couldn't see a way through the muck of it all. And you can't say you're homeless when you have people you can turn to, I guess, but I'm sleeping in my darn car. I never thought that would happen to me. So my point is, and some of you might be thinking, you're a white guy with a bunch of guitars. We're not going to listen to you. You don't really have any problems. And that may be true, but I think it is true that I'm a white guy with a guitar. But trust me when I say we all have problems and we all have issues. And I hope you've enjoyed being with me today. I think we have a little bit more time coming up on the hour mark. I played Wind Up Monkey from my record Jive. Swamp Cabbage is a group that is super dear to me. I just did a short tour of Missouri with the group, and I hope to do some work on the East Coast if I can get a road manager to help me, tend to everybody's needs in the band. I just need to keep my mind on music. Wind Up Monkey was from the Jive CD. Pick up a copy if you can. For the Christmas season, we're selling a 3-pack I think a 3-pack punch for $30. No, $20. 23 CDs for $20. And you pay for the shipping, and we will ship it right from our post office here in St. Louis. And let me talk to you about suffering. When I go to the post office, I suffer for you guys. You know, I suffer for you because I hate going to the post office. And I will promise you that I will personally go to the post office and suffer for you. And it's not that I'm suffering because I'm in a post office. I'm suffering because the employees are so disagreeable. Not all post office, but this one that I go to. So I will put myself through insurmountable suffering so that we can bring you the swamp cabbage holiday package for $20. And there's something underneath it that says 45. Oh, it means that was crossed out. That's the retail value that we've knocked off $25 of that price just to bring it to you. Packaged not by tender love and care. It is packaged by suffering. And so anyway, I'm going to end on this song that's very much about suffering. Actually, no, I'm going to do another Swamp Cabbage song. I realize I've had my tone down the whole time. So Margot, this is going to be a little brighter, which is fine, because I'm going to play one by Swamp Cabbage from our first CD called Honk. Now I will have played everything from a song from every one of our little triage there. Swamp Cabbage's Honk, Swamp Cabbage's Squeal, which Jesus' tone is on, and Swamp Cabbage's Jive, which Wind Up Monkey is on. This is Southern Hospitality. St. Louis sugar, she's good to me. She wants to move down river to New Orleans. Well, she likes to boogie to the voodoo vibe. She needs the red hot pepper, so I got to provide. I give it to Southern hospitality. Keep the old Scott Joplin on the guitar string, tripping. If the ladies are wiggling, I've done my thing, tripping. Well, we head on over to Jacksonville. She don't ask too much of me. Walter Parks. Hymns and Hollers. Another episode. I want to remind you that I will be with you. And I hope you'll be with me on Christmas Day. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to play a bunch of old carols and do it my own kind of swampy way. I'll tell you what I'm going to be playing for you. And I'm excited about it. I just kind of stick with the old stuff with a couple of exceptions. The exceptions being War is Over by John Lennon, Merry Christmas. So this is Christmas, that kind of thing. But I do all these things instrumentally. Joy to the World, Handel, from a hit from 1690, something like that, probably 1740. In the Bleak Midwinter, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Adeste Fidelis, O Come All Ye Faithful, Silent Night, probably do Low How a Rose There Blooming again. We can open packages together. I might play the old carol Angel by Jimi Hendrix. O Come Emmanuel. If I get it together, the Christmas song, but I kind of doubt I'll get to that one. O Holy Night, Minuit Chrétien. I'll try to sing that in French for you. And I will also do Little Drummer Boy, really swampy in my own kind of version. And finally, I'll do I Believe in Father Christmas by Greg Lake, an old carol from the ancient times, 1974, I think. Hope you've enjoyed your time with me. Thanks to my inspiration, Daniel Lanois, Billy Gibbons, John Schofield, Jaco Pastorius. Those are my guitar inspirations. These days, I only listen to the old black piano players and the church players. Thanks to my wife, Margot, who's running sound. If the sound was good, don't PayPal me. Just PayPal me with the thought that you're paying Margot. I'm really in debt, though. I could use your help because I have all these vintage guitars and they have to be paid for. But no, the fact is they're paid for, but to keep them operating is a real pickle. So I could use as much support as possible. It's like having a bunch of old cars and or an old body like mine. You just got to keep going to the doctor, and so do my guitars. I'll see you Christmas morning. This is Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. Give a little bit, put a little bit in the offering plate if you can. We keep the art going all the way through December. I hope I've inspired you, and I hope we'll all be together next week. Thank you again. Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers.